this is Tevs of the Unknown, and I'm here with another reaction. This one is called The Strange Adventures of the Final Boss from Super Kick Studios. If you guys don't know who the Final Boss, because y'all haven't been watching wrestling recently, um, it's The Rock. People's Champ, the Brahma Bull, the High Chief, and your Final Boss. Just saying. And for those of you who don't watch wrestling and just know him on screen on the movies and shit like that, his name is Dwayne Johnson. Okay. So, anyways, um, for those of you who don't know, a little tidbit, The Rock is the reason why I got into wrestling. Um, it was like 9 years old, and I was just flipping through the channels. So I knew of wrestling, but the only exposure I had to wrestling was when my stepdad, he put on ECW for me, and I think it was the Dudley Boys, but it was an old video because at that time, they were in WWE already. But it just didn't grab me, so was like, okay, well, whatever. Yeah, I remember flipping through the channels on a Thursday night. I didn't know what as a kid, you just flip through the channels because you're bored. And then I came across this guy, and he was just talking mad shit about everybody. And I was like, this dude's pretty funny. I like him. I don't know what this is, but this dude's funny. And then they started chanting, Rocky, 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 something. He's Rocky. And then, after he was finishing cutting that promo, that I was just drawn in. I'm like, whoa, what is this? And they called him The Rock. So, this guy's called The Rock. So I just stopped. And this was around the time before, okay, some of you kids that, if y'all are actually watching this video, if you didn't have the remote, you literally had to stand up, walk over to the TV, and press the button to change the channel. So that's what I was doing, okay? Yeah, so that's what you had to do back in the day. Damn, it's weird saying back in the day. It's so fucking weird saying that. It feels so fucking old saying that shit. God damn. Shit. Anyways, so that's how I got into wrestling. After that, SmackDown became like a lifeline for me and wrestling because at the time, I think I've said this before, in other wrestling videos, that family couldn't afford cable, so I didn't know what happened on Raw, and I didn't know what was going on pay-per-views, which were PLEs which are PLEs now, but they were pay-per-views back in the day, and it's not even that far back in the day, but whatever. So the only way I can keep up with Raw, I couldn't really keep up with Raw actually until like I was a little bit older, and even then it was on the Spanish channel because they always do like recaps and shit. But the only way I would knew anything happened or came from those pay-per-views was it literally either the SmackDown after the pay-per-view, or my dad, who worked at a cable company at the time, he would record pay-per-views, and he would give me those videos, whether it was the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, whatever. So yeah, so this one is a little personal for me. I know there's some controversy surrounding the Final Boss, especially probably what happened last year at WrestleMania and the things leading up to it. But you know what, man? Go ahead and check this video out. See what it's got. Probably won't be pro rock, but it is what it is. And also, I got it rocking that right there. Yeah. So yeah. I do blame Cody fans for why we won't get Rock and Roman, but it also led to probably one of the Rock's, if not the Rock's greatest character at the final boss. So can't be too mad at them for that, you know. So, anyways, let's go ahead and just jump right into it and see what we got here.
I'm about to show you is going to make Harry Houdini look like an amateur. The magic of WrestleMania 40 had a lot to do with one central storyline, and that was Cody Rhodes achieving his lifelong dream of...
Hold up. Audio's good. I don't know about this premium. I think it's supposed to be. I don't know. Let's stay with that. Fuck it. Alright.
becoming WWE champion. The man who made that chase and Rhodes so much sweeter was the final boss, The Rock.
Did.
Everything he touched turned to gold, and he once again proved why he's one of the GOATs. His short run provided so many memorable segments and moments, but the adventures that have followed that night in Philly have been strange, to put it mildly. Bad Blood, the Raw and Netflix debut, NXT, that one SmackDown where he wanted Cody's soul, Elimination Chamber, and of course, WrestleMania 41. First, we skip back 2 years before that night in Las Vegas to Los Angeles. The main event here could have been The Rock versus Roman Reigns, and this was the money match. This was what fans had wanted to see for years, and now with Roman's back in 5 pieces carrying the company, the Bloodline story at its absolute peak.
Man. That peak. See,
back...
I just feel like Triple H don't know what the fuck he's doing anymore. Ever since the Bloodline story ended, I honestly felt like Triple H doesn't know what to do anymore. Like, I just feel like he is trying to find the next big story to have, and I think the Bloodline really wasn't his story as much as it was Roman, Paul, and Vince's story. You give Vince whatever it was, but he does deserve credit for what happened with the Bloodline. And, you know, allowing Roman and Paul to do their thing with this whole damn story. So, and it was money for fucking 4 years. So I think Triple H he's trying to find something like that, and I think he's just failing right now, because I just don't think. If I was going to be prime Vince McMahon, I'm not saying the late years of Vince McMahon, but the prime years of Vince McMahon are God tier. But I feel Triple H's prime years, and this is his prime years. I think his prime years may have been in NXT, maybe. But if we're gonna go with WWE prime years, like in the main roster rather than in NXT, this may be Triple H's peak. This may be his damn peak. We'll have to see. And if it is, and I'm not saying that he didn't tell some great stories. I mean, we have had the CM Punk story with Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins, and that's been pretty great. So I've enjoyed that, and I've enjoyed a lot of the stuff that he's, quite a few of the stuff that he's done. I'm gonna say almost say all of it, but quite a few stuff that he's done. But there's just too many glaring holes where I just feel like Triple H just misses the mark, and one of the biggest ones has been John Cena's retirement tour. I feel like he should have done better, and he should have done more right with John. Okay, that's just for another time. Let's.
Guard of one of Hollywood's biggest stars, it seemed like all the stars were aligning perfectly. According to The Rock, this was locked in, but they couldn't agree on what they wanted this to be. Enter Cody Rhodes, who came back after tearing his pec, won the Royal Rumble, and depending on what side you cheer for, suffered a heartbreaking loss in the main event of WrestleMania. Now in WWE's hands was the very obvious story of...
Oh yeah, okay, for those of you who don't know, at first it was Cody who was going to beat Roman. And everyone was like, you know, at first everyone was kind of going along with it. But then Roman didn't necessarily like, I think it was Roman and Paul, they didn't like that Cody was going to win it. And not the fact that they didn't like Cody. It's just that they felt the story wasn't there for him to win it, I guess, in a way. And so they got to with Vince to talk to Vince, and Vince then agreed. But then Triple H was like, "No, I don't like this at all. I think Cody needs to win." But it took a while, and then finally, he was, convinced that, okay, Roman's gonna win this one, and then they had to run it back, I guess. And there's more to that whole running it back than actually it was already set in stone. So we'll see.
Triple H in the Behind the Curtain documentary, and take this as you will, said that they wanted to give him a hot year and go back for the second chapter between these two. Rock ended up teasing a match on the Pat McAfee show in Colorado, and later in the day made an appearance on SmackDown. On the January 1st, 2024 episode of Raw, he comes back, and before leaving, he asked if he should sit at the head of the table. Fast forward a few weeks, Cody
and everybody's going crazy for it.
After he was told by Triple H that Rock Roman was becoming an increasing possibility, Triple H went with Cody as a Rumble winner because he thought him losing would damage him, considering how white hot he was. Seth Rollins was supposed to wrestle CM Punk, who got injured at that show, so they introduced him into the story and made the choice not so clear. Then things went completely sideways. Cody gave up his spot and said he wouldn't be coming for revenge at Wrestlemania after the biggest loss of his entire career, a promise that he made days after returning, and now the opportunity right in front of him, he gave up his chance to The Rock. This became a mess of epic proportions. Social media goes into a frenzy. WWE
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The whole look at that shit. See, that's the thing, man. That's the thing that pissed me off most. Because you could tell the crowd was totally into it. But once social media took over and they were like, no, Cody deserves to finish his story. He deserves to finish his story. Then it was like, as soon as that happened, I knew they're going to hijack the fucking shows. Everyone loved it at first because you could hear the cheers on SmackDown. Clearly the live crowd loved it. But once they got back to homes and then they probably saw social media and saw how many people were upset by this and Cody Rhodes not getting to finish his fucking story, then that's when I knew it was like, fuck, they're going to turn on him. They're going to turn on The Rock. And whether y'all don't want to admit this or not, Cody versus Roman was about to be the story building up to it was going to be mid as fuck if they didn't have the final boss there, bro.
Channel upload, and we want Cody trends worldwide over the weekend.
Which was crazy. It was impressive, I will say.
Rock and Roman become this two-man power trip who are upset that they didn't get to put on a match to honor their family.
This was fucking cool.
And that Cody was the reason that they couldn't do that.
This shit changed everything, bro.
Him, that they chant Rocky sucks, and this pivot perfectly blurs the lines. Roman chooses Rock and Cody chooses Roman at the WrestleMania 40 press conference. Rhodes makes fun of the Anoa'i family and The Rock has a problem with Cody, so this press conference ends in absolute chaos. And the way they did this was awesome. A press event is supposed to be civilized, and this gets everyone talking by keeping all the players involved. The final boss was born, and he was unhinged.
Yeah. Slap his bitch ass. Don't slap the shit out. Bitch ass.
The whole thing was that he could throw his weight around, do whatever he wanted because he has power, because he has say, because he impacts decision-making in the company. Every segment he's in is magic. The star power is enough, but he actually puts in the work to make things as entertaining as can be.
Yeah.
We get rock concerts, we get new catchphrases, we get bloodline lure. He's cutting 21-minute social media promos.
So Cody, Seth, Crybabies, and that shithead dog of yours, Pharaoh, standards and practices off. It's the direction you can fuck.
Standards and practices indeed, because every time Rock's in the ring, he swears up a storm. He's holding the audience in the palm of his hand, and you can tell that he's really enjoying himself. Every arena he entered, he brought it, and most importantly, there was meat on the bone. He wasn't just riding things out, he genuinely cared, to the point where the match felt like it was more Rock versus Cody, because
it did. It really did.
Focus. I really
like Roman became a side Roman became a side character at that point because Rock was the final boss, and Roman was more like the guy you get to the guy you face off before you get to the final boss in a video game or in a movie, TV show, whatever. That's what I felt like Roman was. But man, oh man, they didn't make things fucking interesting, bro.
Had he not been involved, we probably would have gotten a lot of solo lure, a lot of Roman's got the bloodline and Cody's got no one. A lot of it's going to end the same way as it did last year, and your dad sucks. Rock is also doing this one thing that fans notice a lot, because remember before they got away from it, reading the tea leaves actually mattered. Whenever he poses with the bloodline, his finger to the sky becomes an L. This gets fans wondering what's really going on. Is he a secret agent? What's going on? Did he actually come back for Roman after all? He calls everyone
Paul. That's what I was speculating.
Babies,
because I was one of those people, because when he did this shit right here, I was like, what the fuck is he going to do? He going to betray Roman? And Paul Heyman was looking at him like, why the fuck is he, like, looking in his direction, I felt like. And he was like, what the fuck is he doing? Paul, I bet, so it was just a whole bunch of speculation. I was one of those people who was like that, like, yo, this is crazy. He's gonna betray Roman. That was always a thing.
Cody's mom, also known as Mama Rhodes.
Mama
Then
Rhodes.
we get that glorious Monday Night Raw where Rock finds Cody backstage and leaves him in a pool of blood, pain,
That
and
was
rain
epic,
outside
bro.
Arena.
Watching
Right
the
before his
reactions
tour
for
bus, he
everybody
gets
to
the
do that, I
feeling
wish
of
I
a
was part of that,
lifetime.
but, you know.
All in all, memorable moments, funny one-liners, storytelling. This short run
That was so fucking
absolutely
cool.
peak. It was everything you could want.
Look
from
at
the
that
character.
shit, bro.
What came next was this perfect use of the two-night WrestleMania format, where Night 1 impacts Night 2. A tag match between Rock and Roman and Cody and Seth. Rock's team wins, they can do whatever they want in a Bloodline Rules match. If Cody's team wins, it'll be a clean, fair fight. Rock is the one who ends up pinning Cody, and the next night we get the most overbooked.
That was epic, bro. And yeah, and I know people want to make fun of The Rock having his title. Hey, man, if Muhammad Ali's widow gives you that People's Champion belt, I'd parade that shit around too. I don't know why people were tripping. And I'll say this, and I said this a lot. Me and my family watched WrestleMania. And they were like, you know, Rock looked a hell of a lot better than Roman in that match. For me, I felt like Roman was putting his all in that match, but obviously, you know, he doesn't wrestle as much. Whether you can say it's because, you know, the champion is just, you know, they treat the champion as the main attraction, so you don't wrestle a lot, or if you can go back to probably because of COVID and his leukemia and stuff like that, and still having to deal with that. So maybe, you know, that's probably a few of the factors that go into him not wrestling as much, but still being like behind the scenes and still working the stories and shit like that. But in that match, I felt like Rock looked a lot better than Roman. And I was happy for that, because, you know, Rock, I was afraid that Roman was going to have to carry the whole match, but no, Rock held his fucking own, bro.
Shenanigans and
more than held his own.
Rock comes down the ramp, and instead of his normal ice in his veins, Terramana in his soul, all cool self, he is a house on fire. He comes down to the ring.
Oh, because John Cena got himself involved. Bro, the greatest. This was definitely Avengers Endgame shit that was happening here. At the last part of that whole match was absolute fucking cinema. Avengers Endgame type shit here. Everyone that came to help Cody came out. Anybody that came out to help Roman, the Bloodline came out to help. It was fucking crazy.
Down hits Cena with the Rock bottom after they do the Rock Hogan thing, which is ruined by these two and their cardboard cutouts. And then he's like, get the fuck out of the Rock's ring. Seth turns up, Roman gets him. Then it's Cody and Rock, and he's about to ensure that the story ends with his family on top. Undertaker comes out to take him out, and when all is said and done, Cody overcomes the Isle of Samoa and is now WWE Champion in one of the company's most emotional nights. Now is when the weirdness begins. Now is when the psychedelic adventures kick in.
Oh boy.
The night after WrestleMania, Rock comes out to confront Cody Rhodes. Eventually he gets to the point after congratulating him, and he's like, your dad, he was my hero. Gives him his props. It's awkward. He's not really moving on with what he wants to say. He's like, is there any way The Rock can hold that title? Because he wants to hold the championship that Cody has. And Rhodes, he's got the 2013 Russell Westbrook look on his face, like, What are you talking about, man? After this, he's like, I've held every single one of these, but not that one. And then Cody's like, you can hold this one for a moment as long as I can hold yours. They do this awkward title trade-off, and Cody does not give a rat's ass about the championship he's holding. He doesn't even...
Yeah, he doesn't care.
No,
They give me my title back, bitch.
This thing, and he just wants to get his championship back. The
Right.
crowd starts chanting, "This is awkward," as Rock slings it over his shoulder. Thanks, Cody, and he hands him back the title. This ends with the most important part of this whole thing.
No,
He
okay,
tells everyone-
that, at first, when you look back at it, I thought that was weird, but I think that was where you could kind of see the story kind of percolate as to what happens next. Well, when Rock wants Cody's soul, and he's like, man, I can't necessarily wrestle for it, because I'm not going to be, like, fighting champion and other tons of things to do, but maybe there's another way I can hold that title. So I feel like that at first, when I first saw that shit, was weird. But going back now, you take an observer's look at the whole thing as a whole, you can kind of see what was happening. And now it doesn't seem as awkward, and it makes some sense.
That The Rock has to go away for a while. He loves professional wrestling. Just remember, when The Rock comes back, whether you're champion or not champion, he's coming back for you. So Cody, your story with Roman Reigns is over, and you did it. Our story has just begun. There's one last thing that he wants to do before he rides off into the sunset for the time being. He wants to give Cody something. He hands him something, and he says that you don't even need to open your hand to know what this is, going on to tell him, "Don't you ever break my heart again." Apparently, Cody was handed a Rolex, and then Rock disappears. What the crowd is led to believe from this promo is the next step is Rock versus Cody, or some sort of revenge arc from the boss. There's loose ends to tie up, but it can evolve in a lot of different ways. It's wrestling after all. You can always write in and out of stuff. This writes Rock off TV, but he's just hinted that no matter if Cody has the title or not, that he's coming back for him. What helps this entire case even more is what's going on with the Bloodline story as we move throughout the summer. Solo has gone power hungry. He gets a shot at the WWE Championship against Cody at SummerSlam, so he's still connected to them in one way or another. The group is falling apart at the seams.
That's what I felt like.
Solo
That was one of the
raises away from
problems.
WWE
Was
TV.
that
He comes back at SummerSlam to get even with Solo. That bad blood Wrestlemania team up
this
to
is where I
take
felt
down.
like Cody was kind of like his first reign was mostly hanging on to see what they were going to do with, like, keeping them close with the Bloodline. I do feel like they could have done more with Cody's first reign, but and that's on Triple H. I feel like they could have done more, had more stellar rivalries, but they did eventually have it, leading up to WrestleMania 41, but still, it was just, him and Kevin Owens. But, yeah, I felt like pretty much the first half of his title reign was kind of a bore until they brought in the Bloodline, and then Jacob Fatu being Jacob Fatu was fucking amazing.
Common thread. It's Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa versus Cody Rhodes
And then Roman Reigns
and the
having
Good
to work
Guys
side by
win.
side.
Just
That's
as the
crazy
show is
too.
about to end, the final boss's music hits, and out he comes while staring a hole through both of them. He counts to 3, slits his throat, and then he leaves. Now everyone's depicting and wondering what the throat slash is about. Who's it towards? Clearly him showing up at the end of the show where
That was
both of
crazy.
these guys ended on top is as simple as just don't forget about me. Don't forget about the guy who runs all of this. Is Roman in trouble since he teamed up with the
Right,
enemy
that's
of
what
his
everyone-
family?
I was thinking
The
too.
biggest theory of them all was that Solo was acting on The Rock's orders
Yep.
because with that you could get both big remaining matches. And is he in control of Bloodline 2.0, which heading into Survivor Series made a lot of sense.
Listen up, Dwayne, you bald fraud! The Rock is feeling a lot of things about what he just witnessed. The Rock is feeling a lot of things about what he just witnessed. The final boss, you keep that camera rolling. The final boss is feeling a lot of things. And you know why? Because there's been a bunch of bullshit that's been going on in the past 6 months.
He comes back on the January 6th episode of
And
Raw,
fuck, here
on
we go.
Netflix. And buckle up because this is a nomination for the most counterproductive, rip it all apart, just bewildering television appearance of all time. Rock takes an amnesia pill and he's forgotten everything. All the bad blood with Cody, water under the bridge. Within the first hour of this show, two of the biggest possible matches they could run are squashed within the blink of an eye. The Rock comes out with the championship, the same Final Boss remix of his theme. The graphics on the board still say Final Boss. So for anyone saying that
I remember that shit. I was like, what the fuck, bro?
Package. After this, he shows the Netflix execs and the suits, and then he gets to Cody, who's sitting behind commentary, and says he carried the company for a year, and to tell Mama Rhodes, The Rock says hello. Then he talks about Roman Reigns, saying that he's going to be watching his match against Solo. As Rock entered, they emphasized telling the audience that his status in the family was that he's a high chief. Next up is for the Ula Fala, Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa. Reigns wins it, and as Heyman is about to place it over his neck, from behind comes The Rock, puts it on him, and they stare at each other in a tense way. They hug, and they continuously cut back to this POV shot of The Rock giving Roman a glare. He's breathing very heavily and does not seem happy by any stretch of the imagination. They frame this tight as hell, and you're wondering what's going on. Maybe they tied up the threads with Cody because the story is Rock Roman in Vegas. They give you the old Russell Peters, what do you think? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. No. No, nothing happens. Within the first
That's
hour
what I
of
was
the
expecting.
show, it is the strangest single episode trajectory maybe ever. But it gets even weirder.
I think right there I was like, come on, bro. You gotta attack him. Do something. That's what I was like. Do something, Rock. Come on, bro. You cannot just let this man do this to you. Or just come on, man. Do something. But didn't turn out that way. I do feel like some stuff behind the scenes was happening between Rock and Triple H at that point, where it was just changing everything, and they were like, well, yeah, I think stuff between Rock and Triple H was at kind of like tipping over at that point, and
because this is just the tip of the iceberg. Following Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, they play a behind the scenes of everything The Rock has been up to on this night. Daps up Reigns backstage, links up with Travis Scott, and finally Cody Rhodes, who he tells that he comes in peace, then he drives away. We then get social media clips of them sharing Wheatley, Terramana, whatever libation it was, and as a viewer you're just sitting there like, huh?
right,
Didn't you
exactly.
hate him for ruining your match against Roman and talking shit about your family and being a crybaby? Didn't you hate him for continuously mentioning your mom
Yep.
and trying to take away your main event? Real-time wise and retrospectively, the most counterintuitive, downright confusing thing for WWE to do, especially as WrestleMania approaches in just a few. Whenever The Rock came back, it would signal the kickoff to the WrestleMania season this year. Okay, just a blip on the road. Okay, let's pretend that it never happened. The next night, he's announced for NXT, and again,
That
he
NXT
talks
shit
in
was weird.
circles.
That was
He
straight
tells
weird,
Ava
bro.
that he
That
doesn't
was
know what he's
weirder
gonna
than the
say,
Netflix one,
and
man.
he wasn't lying. He comes out, and I have no earthly idea what was happening. He gets about 10 minutes dedicated to him, and I'm going to remind you that this is one of the greats. This is one of the elite off-the-cuff promos in wrestling history. He can make something out of nothing in seconds. He, for 6.5 minutes, talks in circles. He circles the roundabout in the opposite direction about 37 times. It is so bizarre because it seems like there is zero plan for what he's going to say.
Yeah.
He starts off with a chi-hu, and then he's just got the jitters. He's on the Daytona Speedway of mumbling. We talk about the Big Show turning heel and face at the snap of a finger. This guy, mid-promo mind you, flips back and forth between I love you guys and test me and I will fucking kill your mom. He says a whole lot of nothing and then he disappears. Until a month later where he's back on SmackDown.
I think, here's the thing. I think they absolutely had nothing for him. I think he wanted to go with the story, and I say this because Rock and Triple H, I think they were probably beefing backstage. Not necessarily beefing, but had differing opinions on what they wanted to do, on what the story should go next. And I think at that point, Rock was kind of like, well, if you guys at that point aren't really going to do anything for me, I'm gonna go ahead and just move on out and just like drop the whole thing entirely. Because at that point, why am I trying to continue this if it's not gonna lead to anything? So you get it from that point, but also it just makes Rock look fucking weird on screen. Like, bro, he just looks like he just looks like he's a man that lost his whole damn his, like, he got amnesia and shit, or he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing out there. Like, he got dementia or something. That's what it looks like.
Announced a location for WrestleMania 42, which is announced as New Orleans, but it's actually in Las Vegas. The Rock tells us that he's here to call out a man that he respects and admires, and that is our current WWE Champion, Cody Rhodes. When he comes out, they dap each other up. Rock gives Cody a kiss, on the side of the head, of course, you filthy animal. We then find out that he and Cody have become good friends just like their mothers. He glazes him and glazes him, goes on about Ari Emanuel before telling him that he wants Cody to be something more than a great champion. He wants him to be his champion.
That, I think, is a cool concept.
To what Rock said to him the night after WrestleMania 40. For some reason, he starts talking about Rhodes' Instagram followers and tells him he'll make every dream he's ever had come true for him, his wife, and his little baby. Shows Moana, says that he needs him to become his champion, brings up that they're both girl dads and both mama's boys, then randomly blurts out that he'll come out and slap the syphilis off someone's face.
That was
One
funny.
thing that he's never had, and he wants more than anything else.
That was funny.
Is
Come
a
on,
brother.
come on, yeah,
Telling
that was
me
funny
a
as
new
shit.
Samoan spawns on my TV screen every other week, and they didn't give this man a brother. Anyways, last year his goal was to face Roman Reigns for the WWE title, and he said that last year he came back to do that after talking to the higher-ups who were his friends. He said that it was best for business, and Cody told them, F that. Slapped him, and that's what makes him special. He doesn't want an answer. He wants him to go home, talk to his wife, hold his baby, and he'll meet him in Toronto. The one thing that he wants more than anything else is that. And he's not talking about the championship. He says that he wants his soul.
See, that is a
His hand
fucking
on
cool
his face.
concept. I know some people were trying to make fun of that shit. That's a fucking cool concept. Because literally that's what Vince did, but more, well, in more of a, you know, as a tyrant, or say, I'm your boss and you do this for me and this and that. Rock's whole deal was more insidious. Like, yeah, man, you're cool, man, and, you know, we're all cool together. It's kind of like, in the way, the devil, where it tries to tell you, hey, you know, you can have this, you can have anything you want. All I want is your soul. Essentially, that's what The Rock was to Cody. The Rock was the devil to Cody, to Cody's story. So that was a cool concept. Because Rock's whole thing is more insidious than Vince's was. Vince was more, like I said, the tyrant. But Rock's was more insidious. Like, you can have anything you ever wanted. You can be like my brother, my family, part of my family. All you have to do is give me your soul. And that was one way for him, that even though he couldn't physically hold the title, he was still in control of the title. And see, that made sense to me. I know people, but man, that whack ass shirt, I swear, they have like the worst Rock shirts on WWE. It's like they don't even try. It's like some of the even with the active wrestlers, they don't even. Some of these guys don't even try. They don't even try with some of their guys' shirts and shit. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, so generic as fuck. Like their entrances.
Holds it there for a bit, and then he leaves. What could this possibly mean? Rock wants Cody's soul. Surely that means corporate champion. A day before Elimination Chamber, he gifts Rhodes a truck because remember, kids, bribery is always the best option. Next up is Toronto. Heading into Elimination Chamber, there's a lot of theories that emerge, and it was exciting despite the weirdness. The dumbed down story was The Rock wants Cody to become his champion. Will he take him up on the offer? And if he doesn't, what are the consequences going to be for someone he considers a good friend? For someone who controls his fate. The main event is a chamber match for a shot at the WWE Championship.
That was crazy.
Won by the man
That was a
currently
great match.
starting off his final year of
Dun,
in-ring
dun, dun,
competition,
dun.
John Cena. In his final WrestleMania, he'll face Cody
The
Rhodes for
GOAT.
the championship.
Well,
Will he
come
still
on, man.
need an
One of the
answer from
GOATs.
him? Will he sell his soul to the
In my
final
heart, I
boss?
still love The Rock.
He ends up telling him
More
to
than
go
John,
fuck
but-
himself. The offer is rejected, all the while Cena is still in the ring. When he's made his choice, they shake hands, and as Cena looks directly
That was
towards
epic.
The Rock, he slashes his throat, and within the blink of an eye, his expression changes. and the unthinkable happens.
Why?
John Cena sells his
Why?
soul to The Rock, And of all people, it's
Fucking
him.
Travis
In his
Scott.
final year, he's now turned to the dark side.
See, right there, man. That was such a cool moment. Now, again, it came down to the fact that after that, they had no plans for John turning heel. That's what it felt like. They had no real plans. Rock stated this. I don't know if they're going to state it in this video. Probably will, maybe. That they had nothing planned for The Rock after that. They just wanted him to show up because the Elimination Chamber wasn't gathering a lot of butts in the seat. So what would? The final boss. And of course, it sold out. Which is crazy. But yeah, they had no real plans after that. No plans after that, which was boy, it was just a whole bunch of clusterfuck, and again, it felt like it was them needing it, and Triple H not really wanting Rock to be there. As much as you watch WWE Unreal, deep down, I don't think Triple H wanted him there. It was the bosses that wanted The Rock there because again, they weren't getting a sold out arena. It was only until Rock intervened again that you got your full house.
On everything.
This was such an epic generational heel turn.
The ending shot is Rock, Cena, and Travis Scott.
Travis Scott's
all
bitch ass
looking
didn't
towards
even
the
be
ring
in there.
at Cody Rhodes, who's
Lame
been
ass.
beaten to a pulp. It's teased as this Hollywood stable, and Rock is the puppet master. He's the guy who's the overseer and the orchestrator of the whole thing.
This
He's the
would have
one
been
pulling
really
the
fucking
strings.
cool.
Just remember, that's how this whole moment is framed. His character has caused this to happen, and by every bit of WWE TV signaling, you are led to believe that he will continue to be there. Now the question is, why the most resilient, loyal to the soil, never quit, never give in man decided that now was the time to do what he just did.
Right.
Secondly, what would be the consequences for Cody, who in storyline has gotten close to The Rock and just hurt a close friend? But then The Rock disappeared, which leaves us with more questions than answers and without a key player on the road to WrestleMania. Why? Well, because we later found out that there wasn't any real creative aspect to this, but instead, this was a way to get Elimination Chamber to move more tickets. It was a short-sighted swerve to get those social media clicks and do something.
That's on
for
TKO and Triple H.
Now what do we have? We have John Cena without the missing ingredient. We get big little hints.
Maybe The Rock
on
could
why
have
he
just said
did
no,
what he did, but never anything concrete or fleshed out. It almost seems like they parked the biggest elephant in the room miles away from what they're doing. Surely they didn't forget, and this has to be by design. Instead, Cena's main beef is with the fans. A lot of why he's mad would have worked a lot better in 2012, you know, when the fans really were tired of him. But now they bow at his feet every arena he goes to, which leads to him running out of material pretty quick and just rehashing the same "You People" promo on repeat. Long term, there's no depth.
I mean,
there's no course correction. There's no one pure angle that they decide to take and fully lean into. They don't even make it as simple as I'm older now, I have to cut corners to get to the top. It's not fleshed out as I might have lost a step and that man will help me get what I want. Rock holds all the power and I don't. The closest we get to an explanation is that Cena knew Cody's obsession with the people would lead him to refusing The Rock's offer, and that's when he would jump in. In the main event of WrestleMania 41, Cody and Cena deliver a dud for the ages, and The Rock is nowhere to be seen. Instead, it's Travis Scott who makes a 47.5-minute entrance, does nothing of note, and that's how
that's
John
I'm like,
Cena
okay,
wins
where's The Rock? I'm like, where's The Rock? Come on, Travis Scott. I tell you what's how Travis Scott. It's like that scene. I don't know if you guys watch Titans. It's a TV show based on the Teen Titans comic book characters, but in the show, it was the first episode, and Robin, Dick Grayson, showed up in an alleyway. Was trying to stop these guys from, selling drugs and shit. And mostly it was to go after this guy who was harming his daughter. Not Robin's daughter, but the guy was harming his own daughter. So he was, God, Jesus. So Robin was trying to stop that. And when he told them to drop their guns and leave the drugs there, and then they were like, "Where's Batman?" And they were looking up like this. "Where's Batman?" And Robin's like, "The fuck? I'm right here." So I felt like that was totally Travis Scott walking down there. Everyone's just looking, just like down the entrance, like, "Where's The Rock?" I know I was too. I was at home watching, my live reactions are on my channel, but I'm thinking, what the fuck's The Rock? It's just Travis Scott. Fuck.
Need the World Championship. What kind of booking malpractice is this? After WrestleMania, The Rock goes on Pat McAfee's show and gives his side of what happened, saying that he wasn't supposed to factor in. Elimination Chamber wasn't moving enough tickets, so Ari Emanuel called him to make an appearance. He's a board member. Of course, he'd have a huge interest in how attendance is. The reason why he didn't get involved is because it wasn't his vision for the story. His idea was to turn Cody, but that wasn't well received by Triple H and the rest of the creative team. He said he made the call to step back, saying that his job was done and to let Cena have his time. The selling of the soul thing was a feel-out for how the audience would react to Cody turning to the dark side. This is what I can't wrap my head around, is what he said next. He says that he made the call that he didn't want to be involved, to step back, let the spotlight go to Cody and Cena, let them do what they do. I'd like to think The Rock, being in the wrestling business for so long with his family ties dating back years, would understand basic fan expectations and storytelling. When characters are introduced and moments are framed in such a way, those characters need to continue to be.
See, that's the thing. I do feel like he wanted to do it his way, and Triple H was like, "No, we're gonna do this other way." And they were back and forth, and I think Rock got pissed off and was like, "Fine, I'll take my ball and go home." And let's be honest, if we're looking at it hindsight, Rock was right. And if you go back to WWE Unreal, what he wanted to do, was have Kevin Owens. He bring in Kevin Owens, take the title off of Cody Rhodes, and Kevin Owens gets to be champion. But unfortunately, Kevin Owens was dealing with a lot of issues at the time, and in hindsight, Kevin Owens having that neck issue already, it was best that he probably wasn't, because he would have to already given up the title. It would have been a lot more of a mess. So, but you see, Rock was, that was pretty cool. He was going to give it to Kevin Owens. But then, Triple H was thinking, well, what about John Cena? What a heel turn. Rock was liking it, because there was things you could do. But again, I feel like backstage politics is what killed this storyline. Because I think Triple H wanted to do it his way, and Rock said, no, I think this way is better. And so after that, I think that was part of the thing. And he's like, you know what, never mind, we're just going to squash it. You want to tell a story, but you don't want to lose your baby face. You want your baby face to be like the next John. No, that's where I call bullshit. Because I think Triple H just wanted to do things his way. And people talk, and there's some people online that would say, well, you can't get rid of a baby face, and we're built, we need a stay like John Cena was, and necessarily you don't need that. You have plenty of other baby faces making a shitload of money, and Roman Reigns barely shows up, and he's making all this kind of fucking views on all the social media shit, that everyone's still buying his shit. So you're not going to be really hurting for baby faces. You had Roman, you had Jay, you got CM Punk, you had LA Knight, you got sort of Sami Zayn. I mean, you had a lot. And also you had Rhea Ripley and Io Sky and Bianca Belair. You had baby faces that you didn't really have in I would say around 2012 and shit like that, or those guys all coming up to the top around John Cena's era, I would say. And then I get it, you had Randy Orton, but Randy Orton at times was kind of unreliable because of what he was going through behind the scenes. Edge was gone. Miz was great, but they didn't see him as a main event talent. And you had CM Punk, but then CM Punk left, so you pretty much didn't have anybody until Roman, Dean Ambrose, and Seth Rollins started to really come into their own. But even then, it was still tough. So The point is, you had baby faces that could have taken over. I just feel like the whole thing was the fact that Triple H and Rock, were putting the dicks on the table, trying to see which one was bigger, and Rock took his dick, back, and then was like, "Yeah, I'm getting the fuck out of here."
And him agreeing to do this and then just going, "Yeah, I'm not going to be here," kind of requires him to be here. Now, I don't know what's going on backstage. I don't know who's trying to mess with who. I don't know what the beef is. But there's also some shade from The Rock in this interview. He says that they had 6 weeks to plan the finish. Now we get to what they showed us on the Unreal show. And again, take this as you will. Nick Khan said that after WrestleMania 40, there was a hunger to see The Rock again. As they headed towards the Elimination Chamber, there was a tough Canadian economy. So they called in The Rock to help deliver, saying that originally they were okay with the match being face versus face at WrestleMania. But it was Brian Gewirtz's idea that Cody would be Rock's champion. There was also an idea pitched where he would turn him down and the final boss would make an impromptu title match. Kevin Owens would walk out as WWE champion.
That would
Rock's
be cool.
team pitched that, but the issue the WWE team had was switching the title that close to WrestleMania.
Was it always in the cards to turn heel?
No, that stuff you see on Unreal is real. Like, we need to make Chamber big, so let's do something that'll shock everybody. Hey man, we got this idea. No problem.
With Rock already involved, they felt like something big had to happen, and Bruce Pritchard said, "What if we turn John Cena?" Triple H called The Rock, told him about the idea of wanting to do this. Rock said it was genius, and apparently Triple H called Travis Scott before the guy who actually became a bad guy. Cena said he liked it a lot and was just pinging Triple H ideas. Then they executed it, and here we stand without The Rock at WrestleMania 41. Why? Well, because he was never supposed to be there, and knowing what they did, they still decided to go.
This
maybe the worst ending imaginable.
That's not on The Rock, though, how they handle this. That's on Triple H. As a booker, you need to fucking pivot. And that's on Triple H not pivoting and just barreling through the shit with his dumb ass. All you had to do was fucking pivot. You didn't do that shit.
This falls on Triple H as much as it does The Rock, and I'm tired of people giving him a pass. Please hold this man accountable for the exceptionally poor planning. He's got the last say, and to think that on the biggest night of the year, this is the ending they went with is absurd. Triple H and the creative team's job is to
look at that shit. That's a fucking great finish. That was fucking amazing. And you couldn't figure out how to do this shit at WrestleMania. You couldn't figure out some kind of fucking way that you could have had them screw over Cody Rhodes in some kind of way that would have made it more interesting to fucking Travis Scott.
The whole thing to see how it'll be received based on the story they're telling.
That shit was lame. They fucked up right there.
If you know that a man who plays a very important character that the fans have been led to believe is running the whole operation will not be there, then it's your job to ride around it or pivot. Flesh things out, make it make sense, especially with the amount of time you have. If he's half in, half out, then you have option A as he'll be there, we'll do something epic, and in your back pocket, you have to have a contingency plan.
Yes, exactly.
I just don't know how someone sat there and really went, this is the best that we can do. And I get it, they had plans for Travis Scott to wrestle, but they had so long to pivot.
Yeah, they had so long to pivot. And I also want to say this, it was on The Rock too, because I think Rock should have known, and what he said in the video, Rock should have done better. And you wish that he would have taken into account what this would mean for wrestling fans and the story and stuff like that. We're not the same wrestling crowd that we were back in the 90s and shit like that, you know what I mean? This ain't the same wrestling crowd. So I feel like they should have done, because we're more in tune with what happens backstage than we did back then. So I felt like, he should have done a better job at least sticking around and seeing what Triple H wanted to do. And then once WrestleMania was done, just, after WrestleMania, Rock could have just went off and gone somewhere else. And just been like, I'll be keeping my eye on things from afar. But I know that you can handle it. Type shit to John Cena. As he's the new champ. Have the whole celebration there, Rock and stuff like that. And then eventually, then you can continue on with the story of John being the heel and having things and working things, and then Rock could have done maybe a via satellite thing, and as the final boss and shit. There was a ton of things that they could have done, and I think if Rock and Triple H really wanted to work this shit out, but again, it's like they moved the beef from the ring to the backstage area, and that's just.
They get through and what's the end goal when you're putting together a story, you're making a video, writing a book, whatever it is, beginning, middle, end, and you want to see how is this going to be received. Are you telling as full of a story as you can, especially when the stakes are as high as a year-long retirement tour, and making the ultimate good guy and guy you have christened the GOAT turn to the dark side and win a record-breaking 17th WWE title. Now John Cena is our WWE champion, and the thing is, the start to the title reign is always attached to the rest of the run. You just can't gloss over it, and you can't separate it. Without turning this into a what went wrong with John Cena's heel turn video, this image right here with Rock and Cena will forever be a what if. It'll always be the follow-up that never was, the unrealized potential, the power trip that we never got. And what makes it worse is them putting their hands up and not bringing everything full circle. They try to do a couple different things with Cena, but don't fully lean into any of them properly. And when you do that, you end up doing nothing properly. He's got a beef with the fans, a lot of holes there. He's going to ruin wrestling, a lot of holes there. He's going to leave with the championship so the fans don't forget about him. Yep, lost it at SummerSlam, and I kid you not, showed up the same week in Montreal on SmackDown and didn't mention it once. He's also this cartoony parody of a heel, and that, as you can imagine, is also not fully fleshed
It wasn't like horrible, but it deserved a better run. That's the thing. His retirement tour deserved a hell of a lot better. But there were moments where I just like, yeah, it was pretty cool, especially with the him versus CM Punk situation. They are wrestling soulmates. Punk and Cena are just wrestling soulmates.
Here we could look forward to one story, and that was the old Cena coming back. What would be the payoff? And that's a big problem with John Cena's final year. There's not many big payoffs, if any. He's in this trance, he's a bad guy when most people don't really want to boo him. How do they pull him out of this? How does he gradually remember who he is and who he's been for all these years? My 2 cents on it is the story was very easy. Good guy, good heart, made a bad decision, and the fans, the guys who he's always stayed loyal to, the people who saw their hero abandon his principles, are the ones who slowly bring him back and get him to drop the act.
See,
this doesn't happen.
I think this happens right there, and I'm already getting. Let me finish this video and I'll get my thoughts on it.
And he just randomly remembers who he is again. He takes Rock's same amnesia pills, and on the SmackDown before SummerSlam, Cena's just back. He mentions that people who were supposed to be here left, and he bought into someone's idea. But now he's old John Cena again. The champ is here. He's a good guy. Hustle, loyalty,
it worked though.
Respect.
It worked.
Everything you just saw for the past 5 months.
And I think fans didn't matter. Fans didn't matter. I don't think it mattered to the fans.
Is a story for
him being back was what they wanted.
At WrestleMania, WWE jumped without a parachute, and we got a mess of an ending that will live forever in infamy. The Rock Cena dynamic was never delved into again, and the Cody and Roman stories are yet to have a continuation, if that ever even happens.
I think it will, though.
Rock's not been seen in a WWE ring since Elimination Chamber 2025. Time after time again, he was wedged into storylines that signaled to the audience that there was some sort of long game being played. But what we've gotten instead is a collection of weird appearances without rhyme or reason, leading to very confusing messaging and unresolved storylines. What the future holds, no one knows, and what The Rock is cooking truly is a mystery that may never be solved.
And see, that's the thing. Okay, so what I wanted to say was, so what I wanted to say was that, towards that end at SummerSlam, you can kind of see maybe this started to see the shift. You kind of started seeing it when the fans were chanting "Thank you, Cena." I think it was the match after he had with CM Punk, and I think that's where he started kind of like. There's like a little bit, or Randy Orton. There you go. His match with Randy Orton. It was after. It was like at Backlash, and when they were telling you thank you, and then he was kind of like, no, don't do that, and you kind of started seeing a little bit of a shift. But I feel like at SummerSlam they could have done that with leading up to SummerSlam. They could have done that with John. When The Rock shows up, if The Rock had decided to show up and have The Rock show up, and telling him to put him down for good in this match. And then you started to see things where John could have cheated at SummerSlam and then decided not to cheat at SummerSlam. Instead, they went all in this street fight. I mean, not necessarily. Damn, I forgot. It was a street fight. My bad. I mean, it was pretty much a street fight. It was a fight. But again, they could have had an epic match, and they didn't need to use any of the like extra shit. It could have been like, again, you take away the street fight rules and whatever, and just made it again another regular match. But this time you get Super Cena versus Super Cody Rhodes, and you have them both going back and forth. And there are moments where Rock was telling him use the chair or this and that, and you didn't need Travis Scott. Travis Scott's bitch ass could have been somewhere else. And Rock was telling him use the chair, and then John's like, no, I'm not doing that. And then John loses, and then that's when Rock goes, and he just like wondering what the fuck are you doing, and then starts beating down Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes. John Cena. And Cody Rhodes comes in there, makes a save, beats the shit out of the Rock, and just ends with them standing over the Rock, like kind of like they were like the reverse of what happened at Elimination Chamber. This time it's Cody Rhodes and John Cena standing over the Rock. Rock most likely will never forget that. That'll be a story for another time. You can just then at that point move the Rock to the side and move on from that shit, and then continue on with John Cena's retirement tour. But they just like, there's so many things they could have done and they didn't do it. And Rock got a lot of that backlash because they were like talking about, well, why did he do this or why did he do that? When obviously it's up to the booker, the guy who's supposed to be running creative, Triple H, who was the one who really needed to pivot and make something out of the story, and he did none of that. And he didn't get a lot of the blame, and which was crazy. Rock did, and he's not really a part of the shit. And I think part of it is because people really love The Rock and really wanted him to be back into wrestling. And the thing was, as soon as he did, as soon as one of his movies flopped, they were like, he's coming back. But when he did Smashing Machine, and I saw that shit, I mean, even just a trailer before I even saw the movie, I was thinking, fuck, he's never coming back. He's never coming back, especially with his beef for Triple H. He's never coming back. That's matching. He didn't make a lot of it didn't make a lot of money, but this man about to win an Oscar. I'll be rooting for him to win an Oscar. By the way, you can never really you can never have me hate The Rock. He is the reason why I got into wrestling, and he will forever be to me the GOAT. All right. Thank you guys for watching. I truly appreciate. I truly appreciate you guys watching this long ass video with me, damn near an hour, because I had obviously dropping fucking commentary left and right. But yeah, man, let me know in the comment section how y'all feel about this. Do you blame The Rock for all that's happened? You blame something on Triple H? Both? Do you think he's coming back? I think he will. WrestleMania, in Saudi Arabia, they're throwing a lot of money his way, but he doesn't necessarily report are saying. I don't know. It's not concrete, but they're saying that he's kind of iffy on having, because he feels like it's going to be his last match, so he kind of feels it being iffy of having that last match outside of the U.S., which I get, because there's a certain pop that WrestleMania has, and I'm not necessarily sure you're gonna get it at Saudi Arabia. Alright, you guys, thank you guys for watching this long ass reaction. I really truly appreciate it. And all the new subscribers, yes, I say subscribers because of Dispatch. Love that shit. Love that game. Alright, so thank you to to the subscribers who are here with me. I truly appreciate it, you guys. And the many views that I'm getting, it's just been really cool doing this. And almost pretty much a year later, we're still in this shit. So I'm happy. I'm only gonna grow from here, and I can't wait to show you what I got coming next. So anyways, you guys stay safe out there. Cherish the ones you love. And as John Cena would say, even though this is a rock video, never give up. So, take care. See you guys in the next video.